Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Yankees are moving on after dismantling the Red Sox in Game 3 of the wild card. Also, the 49ers surprised the Rams out in L.A., and the Cubs are advancing to the NLDS after topping the Padres.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The New York Yankees shut down the Red Sox in Game 3 and will advance to face the Toronto Blue Jays. Locked On Yankees host Stacey Getsoulias and Brian McKeon recap the huge win.
I was not nervous before this game started. My heart wasn't racing. I felt very calm, and I thought to myself, could it be? Could my feeling be right? And it actually was. Did I expect Cam Schlittler to set records on Thursday night? No, I did not. But I did expect him to have a big boy start. And boy, did he have a big boy start.
Yeah, I mean, this is legitimately one of the greatest elimination game performances in baseball history. Not Yankee history. In Major League Baseball history. That's how good he was. And he was so good in this game that he primarily only threw the fastball. That's how good he was. His location was spot on. His velocity was spot on. Everybody in the building was noticing the velocity in the first inning. Hit 101 a few times.
Yeah.
And we all kind of anticipated. We know his velocity is heavy, but I think everybody around me kind of anticipated, all right, it's going to drop off a little bit in the second or third inning when the adrenaline wears off. It never did.
Right.
His velocity stayed 98 to 101 the entire night. He was, and I'm very positive that if they didn't go to Bednar in the ninth inning, Schlittler could have got through the ninth.
Yeah.
That's how good he was. So incredibly dominant. I don't know, and I've been to a lot of Yankee playoff games at this point. I don't know if I've seen a playoff pitching performance that dominant before. Honest to God, I've seen plenty of Tanaka playoff performances. I've seen Cole in the playoffs a few times. I don't think I've seen that.
No,
that was unbelievable.
It was, and as the game went on, it was, he joins so-and-so because he has this many strikeouts. And then, he's joined this group of guys with this many strikeouts. And then he's the first guy to ever do this. Overall, ever, in a playoff elimination game, ever. Not even just rookie.
And the fact that, when you take everything into account, too, this guy started the year in Somerset.
Yes,
he started the year in Somerset.
He was in double A.
And now he's throwing an elimination game against the Red Sox, and he's striking out 12. It's incredible. The only guy who remotely had his number in this game was Masataka Yoshida, who, by the way, had a tremendous series.
Right. But then he finally got to him. He finally got him.
But other than that, there were no balls that were hit hard off of him.
No, they didn't get a runner past second.
They never put pressure on. There was never a scare at all. It was so incredibly dominant, and it was from the start of the game on. I don't remember ever watching a game where a pitcher was this good. I think there's only one other baseball game that I've been to, including the regular season, where I've been to where a guy was that good. And it was a game in Philadelphia where I saw Roy Halladay take a perfect game into the seventh inning. That's the only pitching performance that I can personally remember that I've seen that was that good. That's one of the all-time great pitching performances. But in an elimination game, Stacey, this is
in your playoff debut. You start in double A in an elimination game against the team you grew up rooting for. Hello?
It's a storybook type thing.
Yeah.
And he finished the year with a 2.9 ERA. He had a really good rookie season, just 15 starts, but he was really, really good. And we watched it throughout the year, and me and you were on top of it. His stuff was great all year. You really saw the star power in this kid. But this game feels like a national coming out party for him. This feels like a national, hey, I'm here I am, and I'm an ace. Right. Because that is, that's an all-time performance that, Garrett Crochet didn't do this.
No.
That's an all-time pitching performance in the postseason. And again, we're not sitting here saying all-time Yankee pitching performance, and there's certainly plenty of historical Yankee great performances. This is an all-time pitching performance in baseball history.
Yeah. And it was funny as the game went on, Yankees most strikeouts in first career post game. So he had tied Red Ruffing and Dave Righetti when he hit 10. Then he went past them when he hit 11 and went even further past both of them when he hit 12. Righetti in 81 with those 10 strikeouts in his first career postseason game. He was also a rookie. Red Ruffing was not a rookie when he set that record in 1932. So think about that. All the guys that pitched for the Yankees in their first postseason career game, those three guys are up there with 10, 10, and now Cam Schlittler with 12. Alone
on that list with 12 strikeouts in an elimination game. I mean, it's otherworldly.
Then he hit 11 strikeouts in a winner-take-all game, and that tied him with Cliff Lee, who did it in 2011, Justin Verlander, who did it in 2012, Jake Arrieta in 2015, and then Cam Schlittler at one point was with them in that list. And then he became the first pitcher in Major League Baseball history with 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, 0 runs, and 0 walks in any postseason game. That's incredible. The thing. The 0 walks. The first walk of the game was by Bednar. That is hilarious to me that it took that long. Yeah. The command was outrageous. And we knew coming into this game, and it was said by Michael Kay primarily going into this game, Cam Schlittler was going to pound the strike zone, and he did. Mm-hmm. But generally when that happens, 1 or 2 guys are going to make some solid contact off you here and there. They were lost. The entire game, the Red Sox were lost up there. You know what I liked, though? Because when he wasn't pounding the strike zone, he was throwing balls out of the zone and kind of getting, like, he was sprinkling things around so he could get things back into the strike zone. It was a great classic performance, too, because he really didn't start mixing in the breaking stuff and the off-speed stuff until he got to the 3rd time through the order. Right. So by that point, the Red Sox were completely off their heels when they were facing him, because they had gone up in their first 2 at-bats and seen primarily only fastballs. And now they're seeing off-speed stuff, and they're like, what is this? And then by the time they have a chance to react to the off-speed stuff, oh, by the way, here's 100 miles an hour right past your head. Yeah. His command was so incredibly... Look at the names that you just read off there. Cliff Lee in 2011, the run that Cliff Lee was on at that time was iconic. I mean, everyone remembers the Yankees couldn't touch him anytime he played them. Yeah. Justin Verlander in the postseason, obviously we know what he's done as a career. And then Jake Arrieta with those Cubs teams. You remember how good he was. I mean, those are 3 all-time playoff pitchers in those eras. And this is his first career playoff start.
Stay up to date all year on the New York Yankees by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Yankees on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the 49ers picked up a big road win despite being seriously injured. Before we get to that, the Tigers got the last laugh over the Guardians in the end. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits how I like to bet, whether it's player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's all about how I feel like betting in the moment. Plus, it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Tigers might have fumbled away the AL Central to the Guardians, a story that would have been a lot bigger if it had been, say, the Yankees, the Dodgers. But they got the last laugh in the end, beating Cleveland in Game 3 of their wild card matchup.
The Guardians spent a better part of 5 or 6 weeks running a marathon to chase down the Detroit Tigers and ultimately claim a division title that was as improbable as any we've ever seen in Major League Baseball, certainly Cleveland. But at the end of the day, the Tigers get the wins that matter. Justin Latta here from Locked On Guardians. Guardians got to a decisive Game 3 against the Tigers at home after an exhilarating series, and at the end of the day, they didn't have enough left in the tank in the bullpen. The Guardians did a good job trying to use Slade Ciccone early on, and he pitched very well one time to the order, and it was a good idea in theory to use Joey Cantillo behind him to take out the threat of the lefties in the Tigers lineup. But A.J. Hinch didn't budge. He left those lefties in there. They did get 1 home run off of Joey Cantillo. And that ended up not being the difference in the game because the Guardians ended up scoring a couple runs in garbage time. However, after Joey Cantillo came out, the bullpen, Gaddis, Zabrowski, everybody after that just was out of gas. There was nothing left there. And that was the danger in using two bulk guys early on and trying to rely on your bullpen at the end of the game if they were gassed from the first two games of the series. And the Guardians also didn't have enough hits. They got some runs late that really didn't end up mattering a ton. They got one hit out of Steven Kwan. Kyle Manzardo did nothing in this series. And that's what it came down to. The Tigers were eventually going to be due to break out of their runners in scoring position slump, and they finally did against the gas Guardians bullpen. And that's just a recipe for disaster. So the Guardians did their best, I think, as far as the game planning. They ran out of horses. This is another example of where not having your all-world closer on the roster comes back to hurt the team ultimately, even if they needed more offense. But you could have used Cade Smith a little bit earlier. We will talk all about it and look ahead on the next Locked On Guardians. We'll get there together.
It's another painful ending for the Padres, who made the postseason for the fourth time in 6 years and fell short of a pennant again.
Just like that, after a season of so many storylines, so many big trades at the deadline, so much hype, the Padres are officially eliminated from the 2025 postseason. Your boy Javier Reyes here from Locked On Padres, not thriving and vibing, just sorrow and morrow and whatever. The Padres losing this game by a score of 3-1. Lots of storylines in this one. Yu Darvish getting absolutely blown up. Watch he's been on it for a while. I think we can officially announce that he is officially washed. Bad game for him, only lasting one inning. The bullpen does its job. There's some questions about maybe specific relievers they use, but mostly offense doesn't show up. 0 for 4 day for Fernando Tatis Jr. Awful stuff. And don't get me wrong, some bad calls, right? The bad strike 3 call against Xander Bogaerts kills the potential that they might have had maybe for a 9th inning rally, but too little too late, can't blame them. Cubs defense played amazing, especially Dansby Swanson. But now the big thing is going to be this offseason does set up 2 questions. Number one, what's going to happen with Michael King? Was he hurt, by the way? Is that one reason? Is there anything going on with him? Because he only went 1 inning in today's game. Not that he was the problem. The pitching was great. And then, of course, is anyone going to get fired for this? Do we lose A.J. Preller? Do we lose Mike Schill, given that it is new ownership after all? So we're going to have to follow all those questions, and I will answer all of them and many more, like best free agents and all that stuff, on the Locked On Padres podcast all throughout the rest of the year. Just because the Padres are done doesn't mean the show is, but we're still sad, everybody. We're still sad. Playoff disappointment yet again for the Friar faithful.
Over in the NFL, Kyle Hamilton is now missing practice for the Ravens, who currently sport, and this is true, the worst defense in the league.
This defense right now with all the injuries, and especially, you're going to miss guys like Roquan and Marlon, who haven't played well so far this season, but you are inserting a lot of younger players on that defense and a lot of rookies, something the Ravens generally don't like to do.
I just hope that from that aspect of things that it doesn't get worse. The young players, again, you don't want to overcomplicate things. You want to keep it simple, but Malachi Starks, there were times where he just looked lost. There were times where Mike Green got swallowed up. There were times where a veteran like A. Marlin, who's out, but he didn't really look the part. Xavier Worthy, I think, is still running a go route. So it's bad.
The Los Angeles Rams could not get the job done against the injured 49ers. Locked On Rams host Doug McCain and Travis Rogers break down the disappointing loss.
Yeah, man, this one hurts. I mean, obviously, you win some, you lose some, but, when you're that close to winning the game twice, it's like, bro, what are we doing? So, yeah, I'm a little sick just based off the fact that we let it slip out our hands, no pun intended, twice. So, yeah, I'm a little sick right now, fellas.
D-Mac? I felt like that pun was intended, and it was fire. So I was going to say that, Brock. But you're absolutely right, Brock. I mean, this one stings. I mean, that's the beauty of these shows is sometimes when you're scheduled up, it's great to celebrate the victories. But, man, it is painful to kind of get your thoughts together and process a loss like that because, look, this is a real rivalry. Brock's played in that one. Gavin has lived in enemy territory. I'm loyal to soil, LA, San Francisco, and you just could feel it. And there was a lot of Niner fans there. Al Michaels said like 15,000 times throughout the game. And you would have loved nothing more than to see the Bang Bang Escalator gang, but that was not the case. They were able to go in with a lot of backups at key positions. And look, the Rams from top to bottom, outside of some of the studs in this one, that Matthew Stafford played a really good game, but you had misplays by Blake Corum. Kyren Williams had really a fantastic game, and then just horrible plays that magnified some of the issues he dealt with throughout his entire career. And yes, anytime you lose a game, it doesn't come down to that specific play. I mean, the Rams trailing 17-7 in the first half, really just from top to bottom. Special teams didn't play great. You didn't get your first sack until overtime. So wasn't a great game by the defense, but still that game was won. Kyren Williams gets the ball punched out. And for me, what pisses me off even more is the decision to go for it. I know, Gab, we're going to talk about this. I was absolutely okay with that, but the lack of creativity on that play call to just get Kyren Williams stuffed on such a predictable play, when if you noticed before they called the timeout, when they were trying to draw him off sides, you saw Puka Nacua motioning in for what looked to be a potential jet sweep. Brock, I was screaming to myself, that looks like the play from Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. That worked. Like, if you were going to go for it, at least be exotic, a little creative. And I just, look, you got to feel for Kyren Williams tonight, the costly fumble, getting stuffed on fourth down. Give your best player the ball in crunch time. The ball should have somehow been in Puka Nacua's hands in that moment. I think the Rams win tonight, but this is a painful loss. It really absolutely is.
Such a painful loss. Oh, there's so many things to yell and scream about. I do have to say before we start, today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, yes, you hinted at D-Mac. We're going to start with that decision there, because obviously the game is decided on that play. And we will certainly talk about the argument that this game was lost in the first half. We will, of course, acknowledge how embarrassing this loss is when you consider not only who it's against, not only that it's Levi to the south, and it was that. Not only did the 49ers have about 3 starters playing this game, and one of them, and their backup, Mac Jones, couldn't even walk halfway through the game. He's throwing up in the last drive. So many reasons to be embarrassed by this game, but we will start with that decision. D-Mac already said he agreed with the decision to go for it on 4th and 1. In case you're somehow not knowing what we're talking about, the Rams did have an opportunity to essentially, settle for a tie. It would have been a chip shot field goal. There would have been a few minutes left. You probably run the clock out and earn a tie. Brock, we'll ask you before I give you my take. Were you okay with going for it there, going for the win, knowing that if and they didn't get it, you would have to lose this ball game?
Oh, for sure. I came out of. I don't want to talk about my other team, but I came out of area with Detroit where 4th and 1, it was like a no-brainer. So for me, seeing the 4th and 1 when you got the offense, you got the players, let's go for it. Let's try. But I agree, the creativity, man. It's just and I told you guys early in the shows, I do not like running between the tackles with this team. Yeah. A zone play, something like that, something more creative. I would have been looking more for a fake dive to, a Puka crossing. Something like that would have got them more offsides than, a dive straight down the middle. That's not our game. That's not his game. We've seen what works. So why do we go to these type running plays? I just don't understand. So, yes, I do believe that we should have went to a 4th down. Go off on your shield. Why end in a tie? That's so weird. You don't know what's going to happen with a tie. So go off on your shield. So I do respect Sean McVay and the Rams for doing that. But, the creativity of the play, it just wasn't it.
Stay up to date all year on the LA Rams by subscribing to Locked On Sports today and Locked On Rams on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Cubs are advancing to the divisional round. Chicago Cubs shut down Fernando Tatis Jr. and the San Diego Padres in Game 3 of the wild card to advance to the NL Division Series to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Locked On Cubs host Sam Olber celebrated the series dub and looks ahead to the tough matchup with their rival Milwaukee Brewers.
The Cubs wrongly lost to the Padres in 1984, the year Sandberg won MVP. The Cubs should have had home field. They did it in a weird way with the lights, and that was revenge for him. And sorry for bringing that up, but I think it's necessary.
That's cool.
And I thought Dansby Swanson was the MVP of this series.
It's not even close.
I don't think it was particularly close. Most of it was defensively, but he had an RBI walk today and a couple of hits. I felt really good. I felt really good about him and Pete going into the series. It took Pete 2 games to get it going. But, if you want to do that whole Cubs pinstripe thing, Dansby Swanson became a Chicago Cub pinstripe guy today. What a series from him.
If they didn't score off Yu Darvish, I thought the season was over. I thought the bottom of the second, being able to rally like that, not come out of the game after 21 pitches, ended up being so pivotal. The inning ended with a little bit of a thud, but they did what they had to do, and 2 runs ended up winning the game. PCA got off the schneid with an RBI single. Swanson walked with the bases loaded. Tucker and Seiya with big hits to lead off the inning to set up second and third. No outs, and Michael Busch connects for a solo homer in the 7th. He went 4 for 10 in the series, Sam.
Yeah.
As he continues to be
he's number 2.
Red hot. But after that, the amount of strategy this series, really by both teams, but especially the Cubs side, at times it's captivating. But Tyone was a pleasure to watch. He had it from the first batter, no walks and 2 hits, 43 strikes and 60 pitches. Your goal is usually 62, 65% strikes. He got 73%. And he only faced 14 guys, and he made it worth it. This is a big deal. Later in this show, we're going to preview the next series, and we're going to be excited to do that because it's been a journey to get here. It's been 8 years since the Cubs advanced in the playoffs. That's a long time. 8 years is a long time. Of course, big picture, this needs to be the goal. There's no excuse why you don't make the wild card every year. You're the Cubs. They should be in this series at least every year now. They have to use this as momentum, and I think they will. But really enjoyed that one. I actually appreciated the pace this week more than I thought. I mean, Tuesday was quick, but Wednesday and Thursday, we kind of reverted old school a little bit just in terms of length of game because of all the changes. But just an incredible job by them. And just soaking it in right now.
And finally, Nikola Jokic is actually showing some excitement for once. The 3-time MVP laughed about contract numbers and said his plan is to be a Nugget forever. If you listen to him talk, you can tell he's energized by what's around him. Bruce Brown returning, Cam Johnson stretching the floor, Jonas Valanciunas adding size. The roster looks about as good as it has been for really the whole time the Joker has been there. For a guy who usually shrugs off the spotlight, Jokic sounded almost giddy, talking about a new energy and a new beginning for Denver. For the Nuggets, that's about as big a win as any offseason signing, seeing their star actually show some emotion over this team. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, the Bills are seemingly on a march toward the Super Bowl, but can the Patriots do anything to slow them down? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.